Just 1 year after what many people consider to be the worst season of Power Rangers with Operation Overdrive, the future of the show is looking kinda scary. Luckily though, the next season was able to restore everyone's faith in Power Rangers once again, with Power Rangers Jungle Fury! The 16th season of Power Rangers to those keeping count. Similar to its Sentai counterpart, Juken Sentai Geki Ranger, we follow 3 young heroes harnessing the power of animal spirits and ancient martial arts. A more down-to-earth theme than what we've been used to, what with futuristic cops, magicians, and treasure hunting. So how was Jungle Fury able to pull this off? Only one way to find out. Here comes the Power Rangers Jungle Fury! Welcome to the Jungle, Part 1. We open up at the Paishwa Academy, a secret martial arts school training the Order of the Claw, with 3 students out of 6 being selected as finalists. There's Theo, an uptight and by-the-book stick-in-the-mud, Lily, a fun-loving and more carefree girl, and Jared, a massive jerk. Theo and Lily win their fights honorably. However, Jared is a bit more reckless, continuing to attack his opponent after he's clearly won. Not only that, but he starts beefing with a towel boy, where another fellow towel boy and Cub member Casey intervenes, not wanting any trouble. Jared tries to intimidate him, but Casey lets out a bit of his animal spirit and knocks Jared away. Master Mao, their master, then chooses Theo, Lily, and Casey as the 3 finalists. Casey naturally feeling like it must be a mistake. Master Mao then explains what they've been chosen for. Years ago, the Order of the Claw sealed away a powerful entity known as Daishi, and these 3 have been chosen as the guardians to watch over his casket. Sounds easy enough since he's already dead, but that's when Jared shows up, enraged that a newbie like Casey is taking his spot. He lashes out at Master Mao, who easily handles him, until Jared unleashes his animal spirit, accidentally freeing Daishi and killing Master Mao, telling the 3 that they now must go to their new master. The address takes them to a pizzeria, Jungle Karma Pizza, where they then approach their new master, saying they're ready to learn all of his wise teachings.
Check! Okay, wrong guy.
They eventually meet the owner, RJ, an eccentric goofball who offers them jobs until they meet up with their master, mainly because they need money to live in the real world now. Meanwhile, Daishi has quickly gotten to business, possessing Jared and reviving his foot soldiers, the Rinshi, as well as freeing his partner in crime, Camille, who may or may not have the hots for Daishi. He sends the Rinshi to attack the city and the 3 go to fight. However, it's clear they're fairly overpowered and outskilled. But that's when RJ shows up to save them. Yup, he's a member of the Order and the gang's new teacher, beating up the Rinshi and officially introducing himself. Their new dojo is the upstairs of the pizza place. It matches RJ's personality, very lax and casual. It's here where RJ gives the Rangers their new morphers. He initially asks if they've ever heard of the Power Rangers, and I was immediately filled with anger for about 3 seconds, until I realized these 3 were most likely at the Paishwa Academy for years and years, being secluded from the outside world. And, naturally, it's Casey who's the most excited to be a Ranger, since he's only been in the Academy for a few weeks, and would know the most about the Rangers. RJ says he knows a guy who tapped into the morphing grid, giving the 3 their new morphers. Sunglasses. Yeah, sunglasses. These are totally not dumb at all. They're super cool. Anyway, the 3 head back into the city to confront Camille and the Rinshi, with Theo and Lily not wanting to waste any more time.
Jungle Beast! Spirit Unleashed!
Transforming into the Power Rangers Jungle Fury! And with their new powers and fancy kung fu moves, they lay the smackdown on the bad guys. Casey, meanwhile, is struggling to morph, and the episode ends with Fran, a quirky side character they met earlier, in danger. Welcome to the Jungle Part 2. Despite being powerless, Casey jumps in headfirst to protect Fran. This awakens his animal spirit and allows him to morph, turning into the Red Ranger, saving Fran and joining in the fight. Now that they're all morphed, the suits. They're really unique and unlike any Ranger suit we've ever seen. They look like track suits, which apparently was the idea in Geki Ranger, but it actually works considering the Rangers are more agile and flashy with their fighting in this season. The gloves are cool and reminiscent of MMA or fighting gloves, the animal patterns on the sides corresponding with their spirit animals, Casey being the tiger, Theo the jaguar, and Lily the cheetah. Yeah, these are some really clean suits. After the fight, the monster grows big, where the ghost of Master Mao is able to send it fleeing. telling the Rangers they need to learn the art of growing big. They ask RJ for help, but he says they first need to master their weapons. Theo gets the tonfa, Lily the staff, and Casey the nunchucks. They all wield them with ease, apart from Casey, of course. RJ saying that until they can function as one perfect unit, they're not ready to move forward. Theo's the most upset with Casey, but Lily's the one who reminds him to not be so harsh, and all he might need is a good teacher. Theo reflects on this and decides to be that person for Casey, helping him master the nunchucks. When the monster attacks the city again, they're ready, using their new weapons to beat him up. And Theo's teachings paid off, with Casey swinging those things around like it's a natural extension of his own body. RJ says that they're now ready for the next step, where together they summon their animal spirits at the same time, and they take on the form of Zords, coming together to create the Jungle Pride Megazord. I adore this thing's design. It truly feels like an animal warrior come to life. Its tiger helmet and claws are so unique. Its body's pattern really embodies the animalistic design. And it's easily the most nimble of the Megazords, pulling off some sweet kung fu.
That won't be easy to beat.
And they just had to ruin it. This is Flint, some fly creature that lives inside Camille's mouth. He comes out during every single Megazord fight this season to do his own WWE commentary.
Ooh, he's about to stick it to him.
And yeah, it's annoying every time.
What a comeback for the Rangers.
He sounds like the AVGN glitch gremlin.
And I've got glitters in my britches for you, nerd.
I don't know who thought this was a good idea, especially since this season has some of the most visually interesting Megazord fights with how agile it is. Flint is also played by Kelson Henderson. I'm sorry, you're a legend. I hate this thing. Whatever, they destroy the monster and save the day, with Theo and Casey now forming an actual friendship. And Daishi is not very happy. The Welcome to the Jungle two-parter accomplishes a lot. It's been a while since we had some down-to-earth Rangers. I like the twist on the typical high school student Ranger formula. Even though they're students of a secret martial arts academy, they're still young and have a lot to learn. Casey is a really likable Red Ranger, in over his head but clearly has a good heart and wants to do good, despite how many obvious roadblocks are going to be in his way. Theo's a good foil to that, obviously having a good heart too, but demands perfection. Anything less is going to be a nuisance to him. But to keep him actually likable though is his pairing with Lily, the perfect golden retriever girl. She's the heart of the group, keeping things positive and everyone on track. But don't get it twisted, she's not a sweet little flower. Oh no, she's not afraid to scrap with anyone. RJ is a really fun mentor. His quirkiness and unorthodox way of teaching is tons of fun. He speaks in riddles and you're never really sure if he's all there. Probably the kind of teacher a group of rowdy kids like this needs, teaching a lesson without them even realizing it. Daishi and Camille are just fine. They're evil and that's all we really know about them. Oh yeah, and then there's Fran. She's the comic relief, I guess, an eccentric girl who loves pizza. She comes to Jungle Karma every day and has a weird obsession with it, but in a positive way. She ends up getting a job since the Rangers aren't going to be reliable workers. Yeah, there's ups and downs, the downs being Flynn's obnoxious commentary, and the stupid sunglass morphers. Seriously, what's the deal with this? Apparently in Geki Ranger, the team had gauntlets, which makes sense as to why they gotta flail their arms around when transforming. Jungle Fury did come out in 2011, and stupid sunglasses were all the rave. I don't know, I hate these. These might be my least favorite morphers of all time. But I'm willing to forgive all of that, because the Jungle Fury theme song is literally a masterpiece. It starts off with a buildup of these tribal drums that immediately gives you a sense of triumph, before transitioning into...
Here comes the Power Rangers, Jungle Fury!
The most hype and catchy pop-punk tune of the 2010s. This is what I'm talking about.
Training hard to be the best that we can. Power Rangers!
Maybe it's because I'm biased and I was a pop-punk kid during this time, but that fast-paced and catchy anthem is honestly the perfect vibe that encapsulates Power Rangers. It's victorious, energetic, and has a sense of lightheartedness. And it's easily the best theme song to use during morphs, Megazord transformations, and fight scenes that will always get you instantly hyped. The whiplash you get from just one season ago having the worst theme song ever to now what I could easily call my favorite theme song is a welcomed addition.
Power Rangers! Jungle Fury!
I could talk about this song all day. But for now, let's actually continue with the show. Sigh of the Tiger. Casey asks RJ for extra training, since he feels like he's too far behind Lily and Theo. RJ says he'll do it, as long as Casey does whatever he says. Naturally, this leads to RJ doing some Karate Kid style training, having Casey give him a massage, use a screwdriver to fix his chair, air out the mats, and wipe the floors. In between these chores, the Rangers are doing battle with a bull monster, with them losing every encounter, and Casey naturally growing more frustrated, since he feels like he's wasting his time with these menial chores. Eventually, he snaps on RJ and manages to get the upper hand, realizing that all these menial tasks were actually secret martial arts training in disguise. He thanks RJ and puts them to use. "You've learned well, young tiger."
Down low! Hiya!
They destroy the monster and Camille gets scolded by Daishi, which I'm 99% sure she's really into. A taste of poison. Camille creates 5 new warriors named the 5 Fingers of Poison. Let me explain how the monster process works here. Every monster is actually a normal Rinshi that gets imbued with an animal spirit. Once this happens, they're able to take the form of either a super Rinshi that can now talk, or the monster. Back at Jungle Karma Pizza, we see Lily and Casey getting along really well. Casey's fun nature is a nice change of pace when compared to Theo, who's of course anti-messing around. The Rangers get called to fight the 5 Fingers, however, they're overpowered. It's here they also learn that Daishi is possessing Jared. However, it's clear there's a bit of Jared's anger that's fueling Daishi, considering Daishi has a bone to pick with Casey. Casey gets a little overzealous and charges in headfirst to fight, not only losing, but gets injected with poison, where Lily seems the most worried. Later that day, the same centipede monster that poisoned Casey calls out to challenge him, but Lily takes matters into her own hands, confronting him by herself. She puts up a good fight, but eventually Casey and Theo show up to help, with a new weapon, the Strike Rider! Casey's new motorcycle, now available at Target. They destroy the monster and Casey gets unpoisoned. Back at the restaurant, Casey thanks Lily for helping, joking that the reason she went that extra mile is because she has a crush on him. But Lily makes it clear that she just views Casey as a little brother she wants to protect. He's cool with that, and the two continue in shenanigans. However, Theo walks in on this and doesn't seem too stoked. Can't win them all. We get a look into how cool and perfect Theo is, outskilling both Casey and Lily during training, as well as being the perfect pizza tosser. All is going well until they fight another poison. Gakko, the insurance gecko. He climbs up on the walls and goads them into fighting. Theo's feeling confident and gives it a go, but loses the fight. This instantly demoralizes him, throwing a pity party and lashing out at his friends.
Look, I'm just a new guy here, and I may not have the right to say this.
You're right. You don't have any right.
RJ sees this and takes Theo on a road trip, telling him to walk a tightrope and juggle some fruit. Meanwhile, Casey and Lily are fighting the bad guys. They get overpowered and call RJ for Theo's help, but he denies it. Theo doesn't see how this is helping, but RJ's unorthodox ways once again comes through, saying that he's right. This is meaningless. Confidence is a state of mind. You win some, you lose some. It's not about what happens when you win, but what you do with yourself after you get knocked down. This regains Theo's confidence and he runs to join the others, apparently mastering the wall run, and together they destroy the monster. The episode ends with Theo not putting so much pressure on himself anymore, realizing he's just human and is bound to make mistakes like everyone else. Dance the night away. Every Thursday, Theo and Lily have a lunch appointment. Not a date, as Theo is adamantly pointing out. However, this Thursday, she's nowhere to be found.
She's upstairs, getting her groove on with Casey.
Whoa, RJ, this is a kid's show! Oh, okay, they're actually just dancing. Theo's clearly a little jealous of Casey, especially when Lily invites him to their lunch date. Sorry, lunch appointment. It all boils to Theo saying this.
Lily and I go way back. You're just a new guy.
Stingerella is like a dance monster, I guess, using the power of dance to fight the Rangers. All the while, Theo and Casey are still arguing. RJ says their teamwork is all out of whack, and if they want to use his latest invention, the claw cannon, it's gonna require all of their combined power. During the next fight, they summon the cannon, but Casey runs off to fight on his own. Naturally, this leads to them losing the fight once again. We see that Casey is still angry at Theo for calling him just the new guy, and it's Lily who needs to step in, telling Casey what he did was selfish, as well as telling Theo that they'll both always have an unbreakable bond, but they both need to work it out and stop acting like children. Theo apologizes and says he was worried that Lily Lily was forgetting about him, and Casey apologizes, saying he just wants to fit in, not steal anyone away. I'm glad they squashed what looked like was going to be a love triangle. We don't need that, thank goodness. With everyone now on the same page, they lay the smackdown on the bad guys and use the claw cannon to finish the job. The episode ends with Theo still a little down that things are different, but Fran gives him some nice words.
I mean, if everything always stayed the same, things would get boring.
Pizza slice of life. RJ leaves town for a bit and puts Casey in charge of the pizzeria. He doesn't want the responsibility and decides that everyone is equally in charge now, leading to shenanigans. This episode really doesn't have a focus on the Rangers, but instead, Camille. Naja, the snake poison, is a snake, wanting Camille to betray Daishi, saying he can't be trusted. Camille's disgusted at this thought and spends the episode fighting Naja. Naja says that Daishi doesn't care about anyone. To Daishi, Camille is nothing more than a tool that'll be discarded when she runs out of her use. Camille, however, firmly believes that Daishi does care about her. She mentions all of this to Daishi, and he uses very careful language, saying things like, "You're my favorite." He even tells Camille to get stronger by absorbing the Ranger's energy. She says that could destroy her, but Daishi says, "Isn't that a risk you'd be willing to take for someone you love?" I gotta say, I love this toxic relationship dynamic. This episode solidified these two as amazing villains. Daishi clearly doesn't care about Camille, but he weaponizes her love and admiration to get what he wants. She eventually does steal some of the Ranger's powers to increase her own. She fights Naja and wins, but even at the very end, he continues to plant the seeds, that even after all this, Daishi has never even said thank you. She destroys Naja and he leaves behind 3 life talons. Camille wants to proudly show this to Daishi, but he's already long gone. And back at the lair, she's once again seeking some type of approval for her dedication.
If you're waiting for a thank you, move on. Loyalty is what I expect.
Way of the Master. The Rangers encounter a pangolin monster whose armor they can't break through, so RJ tells them the legend of a Paishui master who wielded a weapon so powerful it could break through anything. However, that master has since left the Order of the Claw and hasn't been heard from since. So of course the Rangers go and try to investigate, before getting jumped by a hooded figure, who swiftly beats them up. Meanwhile, Daishi is looking to get stronger, so he plans on using one of the life talons to revive a powerful being known as Carnosaur to be his mentor. The Rangers eventually come across a decrepit home as well as an old man, who of course turns out to be the Master. Master Fant. He's a bitter old man who doesn't want to help. Casey and Theo lose their tempers pretty quickly. However, it's Lily that stays behind trying to win him over, not taking his insults to heart and even cleaning up his garden. Eventually, the Rinshi get the jump on Lily, and Master Fant comes around, saving her and beating them up with his jungle mace, his secret weapon. And yes, Master Fant wields the spirit of the elephant, taking Lily under his wing as his student. Luckily, Lily's a fast learner and comes through spinning around that mace like she's been doing it her whole life, taking out Camille and destroying the monster. When it grows big, however, the Rangers have another new weapon, the Elephant Zord. Combining with their Megazord, complete with the mace, they save the day.
Jungle Mace! Spin attack! All right!
The episode ends with Master Fant thanking Lily for teaching him how to be a happy guy again. Lily's heart, once again, truly is her greatest weapon. What's interesting though is that at one point, Theo says this about Master Fant,
He's the only one that can help us, and all he does is sit around feeling sorry for himself.
which is very reminiscent of what Theo was going through not too long ago. So in a way, it kind of feels like this should have been Theo's mission, to hold a mirror up to what his future self could have been like. Good karma, bad karma. Daishi manages to revive Carnosaur, who says Daishi is a strong warrior, but still possesses the heart of a man. Meaning that, yeah, Jared himself still plays an influence on how strong Daishi will get. However, Carnosaur has a plan to fix this. The Ranger plot is kinda boring, honestly. We follow this poor kid who steals some money from JKP. Casey befriends him and tries to teach him that stealing is wrong. Anyway, Carnosaur is taking Jared to previous life events. It's here we see that Jared was an honorable kid who wanted to do the right thing. There was a time where a girl stole the answers to a test and Jared refused to look. Carnosaur is taking Jared to these important moments of doing good in his life and altering its history. There's a time when young Jared was getting picked on and he refused to fight back, saying it goes against their code to beat up people weaker than you. So Carnosaur changes that event, so Jared does end up beating the kids. It's very interesting, honestly. We seemingly have Jared in control here, not wanting the past to be altered because there's still some good in him. He sees that youthful do-gooder in his younger self. With these changes to Jared's life, he's seemingly more ruthless and one step closer to becoming almighty. Oh yeah, Casey's story. The kid ends up spending the money on a kite, making the wrong choice. However, he's of course a fan of the Power Rangers, and Casey says the Rangers wouldn't like him for stealing. With Casey's moral to the kid being,
You can't have it both ways, Josh. Either you're a good guy or a bad guy.
you're either a good guy or a bad guy. Despite this entire episode focusing on Jared's battle with good and evil. Good job, Case. Blind leading the blind. Theo is trying to multitask everything in his life, causing both his ranger duties and work life to be lacking. So RJ calls in a friend of his, Master Swoop, to take Theo under his wing and mentor him. Master Swoop is blind, also wielding the spirit of the bat. You get it? I said took Theo under his wing. Okay, he's trying to teach him the importance of concentration and focusing on one thing. Theo's saying that this is just how he was raised. Everyone always expected perfection out of him. So trying to balance everything to the best degree possible is just who he is. Master Swoop says he doesn't want Theo to change, but instead, sometimes take a step back and free your mind. Give yourself a mental break that you so desperately need. He passes the test, learns a cool trick, and gets the jungle fans as a new weapon, whooping the bad guy spectacularly. And of course, getting a new bat sword.
Swoop attack!
Pushed to the edge. Camille doesn't like the brutalness of Carnosaur's teaching, as well as this new ruthless attitude Daishi has adapted. So, she does like it when he bosses her around, just not when it's in such a mean way. So Camille takes on a civilian disguise to escape from all this for a bit. She heads to Jungle Karma Pizza and is very rude. Lily sees this and does what she does best, tries to be a good person and helps out this frustrated stranger. Camille is shocked to see that this is Lily and tries to leave, but when Lily asks what's wrong, Camille gives in, being vague and saying her new boss is calling her useless, as well as her friend betraying her. Lily gives some friendly advice, which inadvertently gives Camille an idea: to use a life talent to revive another powerful general, Jellica, asking her to instead be Daishi's new master. I guess the logic is that Jellica would be grateful to Camille and therefore train Daishi in a way Camille seems fit? Not as ruthless, I guess? I don't know, it doesn't work, and she instead demands to be Camille's mentor. Together they manage to capture the Rangers except Lily. She gets into a fight with Camille and loses, Jellica telling Camille to finish her off, but she can't do it. An enraged Jellica attacks Camille, but that's when Jared comes to her rescue, getting into a fight with Jellica, where she reveals this was all part of her plan, to see what Daishi was made of, and she's impressed, agreeing to become his mentor as well. Camille reveals to Lily that she was the blonde girl from earlier, taunting Lily and saying that her kind heart and wanting to help out a stranger helped revive Jellica and make the villains even stronger. The episode ends with Lily feeling terrible, that her kindness might actually be a weakness. But it's Theo who cheers her up, saying anyone would be lucky to have her as their friend, and that her ability to reach out to anyone to want to cheer them up is one of his favorite things about her. One master too many. Casey's wondering when he's gonna get a new master like his teammates, with RJ saying that he's already got one in him. However, Casey's adamant on wanting another one to learn another style, and RJ actually seems a bit hurt by this. During a fight, the Rangers are losing, but they get saved by a mysterious warrior. This is Master Finn, master of the shark style, and RJ's father. The two haven't talked in years, with Master Finn being very different from RJ. He's strict and serious, while his son isn't. He's decided to take Casey as his pupil, and Casey's excited, with RJ now feeling even worse than before. We learn that RJ didn't want to learn the shark style, he wanted to pursue his own animal spirit, the wolf. Master Finn was so disappointed in this that he never spoke to RJ for years after that. So now seeing Casey seemingly prefer Master Finn over his own teachings is hard on RJ. Eventually Casey catches on that he's being a bit of a jerk. The two have a talk and Casey learns all this, telling RJ that he was just excited to learn a new style, and that he still loves RJ as a mentor. Trying to tell Master Finn all of this as well, but they're interrupted by a monster. They get into a fight and Casey gets the shark sabers. Daishi also shows up to test his new abilities and strength, getting the upper hand on Master Finn, but RJ shows up to save his father, fighting Daishi and using his wolf spirit to send him fleeing. And the Rangers defeat their monster with the new Shark Zord. The episode comes to an end with RJ and his father rekindling their relationship, learning to embrace all the things that make his son different. Ghost of a Chance Part 1. With their new abilities and weapons, the Rangers are feeling really confident. Borderline cocky, asking when they're gonna get their master status, with RJ wanting to reel them back to reality, telling them to practice their stances and to go back to basics. While the Rangers were feeling overconfident, Jared's been training intensely, with Jellica and Carnosaur believing he's been taught all they know. So they put it to the test. Jared calls out the Rangers and they get into a fight, with Daishi easily handling all three. It gets so bad that RJ needs to step in personally, but this was seemingly the plan all along, to kidnap RJ, his final words to the Rangers being, "You know what to do." Daishi has brought RJ as a gift to his masters, wanting to show off his newfound strength in a battle to the death with a Pai Shui master. Meanwhile, the Rangers are trying to figure out what RJ meant when he said, "You know what to do," with Casey remembering their last lesson being about going back to basics. So they head to the Pai Shui Academy and go to the crypt where Daishi was first released. It's here they learn of 3 other masters who passed away and live in the spirit realm, containing the animal spirit of the gorilla, antelope, and penguin. The ghost of Master Mao shows up and says they can only learn these abilities if they enter the spirit world, but it's dangerous and there's no promising they'll be able to come back. But with no other options, they're adamant on going. Once inside, they're greeted by the 3 masters, who challenge them to a fight without even saying a word. And, no surprise, they lose. Ghost of a Chance Part 2. This is Master Rilla, Master Lope, and Master Gwyn. Also, as a quick side note, Master Gwyn is played by Michelle Langstone, who also played Cat in SPD. So I feel like this was kind of a missed opportunity to make her the spirit of the cat instead, but whatever, I know, Sentai footage. They say in order to master their abilities, they all need to pass a test, confronting their darkest fears. Lily is afraid of spiders, Theo is afraid of singing in front of an audience, and Casey is afraid of his childhood monster in his closet. This is kind of a weird test. The 2-parter started off with the Rangers being insanely confident, and even though they lost RJ, they've never really lost that confidence to the point where it feels like this is the ultimate test. Like, maybe if the team were considering giving up and retiring as Power Rangers, it would make more sense as to why they need to conquer their fears. But as it stands, I don't see how karaoke helps Theo in this particular situation. However, they naturally pass the test and are ready to take their new skills to Daishi, who himself is busy beating up RJ in a Coliseum battle, just trying to survive until the Rangers show up. Back at JKP, Fran is a one-woman show. She overhears RJ's TV upstairs and decides to turn it off for him. But that's when she sees Casey, Lily, and Theo appear.
They're Power Rangers?
Daishi returns RJ since he refused to use his full power, and decides that the Rangers will do instead. The Rangers hold their own a bit more this time around, but still lose. But that's when they decide to show off their newfound strength.
Jungle Master Mode!
A new power-up named Jungle Master Mode, granting them a cool claw weapon and a suit redesign, now having more white instead of black. It's clean. And of course, boosting their strength tenfold.
Tiger Strike!
Taking out the monster and reminding Daishi who they're messing with.
'Cause we're the Power Rangers, Jungle Fury!
Forcing him to flee. Oh, and yeah, they get the gorilla, antelope, and penguin Zords, creating the Jungle Master Megazord. And with it, they destroy the monster. The episode ends with RJ feeling a weird pain in his chest, and Fran revealing that she now knows the Rangers' identities. Bad to the bone. Fran's actually pretty stoked to know she's friends with the Rangers, now knowing why they're always leaving work with no explanation. RJ's chest pains continue to happen, causing him to suddenly and randomly leave. The Rangers also get into a fight with a porcupine that ends up sticking Lily with its quills. RJ pulls them all out, but suddenly Lily now has a new attitude, being a bad girl, which Casey and Theo are kind of into. Also, there's now a werewolf attacking the city. This one though doesn't seem like a typical monster that Camille would send. Lily doesn't help the others when another monster attacks, and with RJ nowhere to be found, during the scrap she manages to pull out one of the quills that was hidden, reverting Lily back to her kind self, where she rejoins the others and they destroy the monster. And the episode ends with Camille being confronted by what sounds like a werewolf. Friends don't fade away. Another general shows up to the villain's lair, Grisaka. He initially comes to work under Daishi, but changes his mind when he sees that he's in a human form, beating him up and taking his place as new ruler, while throwing Daishi in a holding cell. We also see RJ's clothes all tattered up, which, if it wasn't clear before, RJ is turning into a werewolf. His animal spirit is out of control, and instead of telling the Rangers, he instead decides to just leave, with Fran of all people telling RJ he should run to his friends instead of away from them. He transforms again, but Fran is able to reach his heart,
saying she knows RJ won't hurt her no matter what form he's in.
This manages to break the curse momentarily, thanking Fran and grabbing a mysterious box before heading to the others. The Rangers are currently fighting a strong monster, and RJ seems to want in.
Maybe I can give you the challenge you're looking for.
Pulling out his own morpher and unleashing his animal spirit.
With the courage of a wolf, Jungle Fury, Wolf Ranger!
Our first ever Purple Ranger, alright! And with his 6 skills and powerful moves, he defeats the Rinchi and the monster all by himself. And of course, he gets a Wolf Zord. It just becomes another leg in the standard Megazord. Sure. Daishi meanwhile has escaped to grow stronger to take back his throne. And RJ officially becomes the 4th member of the team. The Wolf Ranger is really cool. Again, it's our first ever Purple Ranger, and it's a nice change of pace. Since RJ is their mentor, simply having him be like a Green or Black Ranger would feel out of place. It's kinda like how Kruger didn't have one single color to his suit. I also love the design. It's very Muay Thai inspired, with the hand wraps and armband that flails around during fights. It's seriously so cool and just adds to the martial arts theme of the season. No eye in leader. With RJ now on the team, Casey is starting to feel lost in his role. He was the leader and is now just there. Casey saying that before he joined the team, he was just a cub. He had a lot of catching up to do and was able to prove himself and become Red Ranger. But now with RJ taking on the lead, Casey says he feels like a cub all over again. RJ apologizes for that. He was just excited to be a ranger and got carried away, saying that Casey is the leader for a reason, but to make the team as powerful as can be, everyone is an important piece of the puzzle. It's a good Casey episode, reminding us that he was the odd man out when this all began. He has the most potential, but also has the least experience. Meanwhile, Daishi is trying to learn Zokado, which is some power, learning he needs to get to a place called the Nexus to obtain his new strength. True friends, true spirits. During a Megazord fight, there's some more destruction than usual. RJ hears someone calling out for help and rescues Flit unknowingly. Flit, however, is incredibly thankful, saying that him and RJ are now friends. But RJ doesn't trust him. Flit even heads to Jungle Karma Pizza to thank RJ once again, but the Rangers catch him and are adamant on destroying him. However, they hear him out, learning that Flit actually hates Camille and isn't with them by choice. So many years ago, Flint was a warrior doing battle with Camille, who won the fight and placed a curse on him, turning him into a fly and becoming her prisoner. Flint wants to help the Rangers, proving his loyalty by explaining that it was a curse put on RJ that's turning him into a werewolf. And just then, he transforms, going on a rampage as well as another monster attacking the city. Flint uses his supersonic ability to get into RJ's head. He sees both his human and animal forms fighting each other. At first, Flint is cheering RJ on, but eventually sees what's really happening. Flint tells RJ that he shouldn't fight the werewolf, seeing that it's a part of him and what makes him a Paishuan master. He tells RJ to instead accept the wolf side of him. He does so, and the evil energy now has nowhere to escape to. RJ thanks Flit for his help, but Flit's in pretty bad shape. It turns out that because of his curse, he can't be away from Camille for too long, otherwise his life energy starts draining. They defeat the monster and everyone thanks Flit once again, RJ now fully accepting him as his new friend, before Camille shows up to snatch him away. Another good episode. I didn't expect to genuinely care for Flit and want to see his story, and hopefully get the good ending. Also, RJ's werewolf mini-arc was tons of fun. It also makes a lot of sense considering the wolf style and spirit is something he adopted on his own. Remember, his father wanted him to learn the shark style and he refused. Now, not having any mentor on the dangers or how to control this new spirit, it was only a matter of time until something went wrong. Path of the Rhino. A health inspector shows up to JKP. But surprise, it's actually RJ's old friend from the academy. This is Dominic, another goofy and lighthearted guy. We learned that a while back, Master Mao sent him on a quest to find his calling, and he's still looking for it. Eventually he learns that they're all Power Rangers, believing that this is his calling. But Casey, Lily, and Theo aren't impressed with his antics. He's always goofing around and never taking anything seriously. Fran's the only one who seems to like Dominic. He's caring, talks to her, and they can both relate on being bookworms. However, the Rangers get sick of Dominic and he can see that, realizing that he's not wanted here. The Rangers are pretty happy with their decision, saying they gave it a shot and it didn't work. But Fran stands up for Dominic, saying they never really did give him a chance. They simply just judged him on his lighthearted personality. The three realize they were jerks. They find Dominic, who ends up saving Fran. Casey apologizes and the two make up. Dominic joins in the fight, and RJ hands him his bracelet morpher, leading to Dominic unleashing his animal spirit.
With the power of a Rhino! Rhino Ranger!
The fifth member of the team. And with his Rhino morpher in hand, he strikes down the bad guys one by one, saving the day, getting a job at Jungle Karma Pizza, making some friends, and seemingly, finally finding his purpose. The Rhino Ranger suit is also very cool. The little dash of orange is a nice complementary color. I like the horn, and this suit is actually karate inspired. The suit itself being white also helps with that look. A karate gi and belt to go along with it. Dash for the Dagger. So everyone wants to go to a place called the Rhino Nexus. The Rangers for a new weapon, Grisaka's team for power, and Daishi and Camille, now being their own separate team after being exiled, also want that power. To get there, you need the Control Dagger, which Master Mao gave Dominic for safekeeping. He goes with Theo to retrieve it, and when Theo sees that Dominic's just been hiding it at this random diner, Theo holds on to it himself, saying it's in safer hands this way. It's clear the Rangers are still a bit hesitant when it comes to placing their confidence in Dominic. However, the dagger ends up getting stolen by Camille in disguise, catching Theo when his guard was down. He apologizes to Dominic for not trusting him. Dominic then goes after Camille on his own, since Master Mao said the dagger was directly linked to his future. Meanwhile, the Rangers are fighting another powerful monster. The Rangers destroy the monster, but Camille managed to get away with the dagger, handing it to Daishi, who's now ready to plot his revenge and become even stronger. Race to the Nexus. Everyone's heading to the Nexus, but Jared and Camille are the ones with the actual dagger to harness the power. The entire episode is just a huge fight. Grisaka, Carnosaur, Angelica fighting the Rangers, then some of the Rangers splitting off to stop Jared and fight him and Camille. It's tons of fun, and there's too much action for me to commentate moment to moment. Eventually, Jared and Camille reach the tomb that requires the dagger, and Dominic shows up to fight for his destiny. He manages to get the dagger and harnesses the power for himself, where inside contains the power of the Rhino Zord. It's huge compared to the others, especially since it transforms into its own Megazord form, the Rhino Pride Megazord. And with it, Dominic is able to destroy Carnosaur, with Daishi being kinda happy that there's now one less obstacle in his way. Arise the Crystal Eyes. So the past few episodes, the villains have been looking for something called the Crystal Eyes, but it's never really been explained what they are until now. So many years ago, a group of monsters went by the name of the Phantom Beasts, and they were the baddest beasts around. There's 8 of them that are apparently all based on the Chinese zodiac. They were destroyed, but all that remained were their eyes. And if they're able to gather all the eyes, the Phantoms can be revived. Grisaka and Angelica plan on reviving them to serve as their soldiers. The villains already have a couple. Luckily though, an archaeologist has just announced in the newspaper that she's found several mysterious eyes. Casey goes to try and sweet-talk his way into handing them over. However, she doesn't budge. So Camille and Daishi take a more direct approach, simply attacking and stealing them. Meanwhile, Grisaka and Angelica show up, also wanting the eyes. A huge fight breaks out, with Grisaka growing giant. He's pretty powerful, but the Rangers combine all their Zords to create the Jungle Master Stampede. And with it, they destroy Grisaka. The Rangers retrieve the 5 eyes and bring them back to the archaeologist. With Grisaka now gone, Angelica is the only one left, taking the 3 eyes they've already found for her own deeds. Fear and the Phantoms. Angelica revives the 3 Phantom Beasts, saying they work for her, and their first orders are to destroy Daishi. However, the Phantom Beasts instead turn on Angelica and instantly and mercilessly destroy her. Yep, she's gone. The Phantom Beasts fought against Daishi back in the day, however, they were ultimately defeated, saying that if they instead followed him, they would have ruled the world. They don't want to make that same mistake again, so they now pledge their allegiance to Daishi. Getting straight to work on their new plan. One by one, the Rangers' Master starts disappearing, starting with Master Swoop, then Master Finn, and lastly, Master Fant. The Rangers, meanwhile, are trying to figure out what's happening, all while needing to fight another monster. The rest of the episode has a plot with Lily teaching some girl how to dance and have her build up some confidence. we don't care about this. The Rangers destroy the monster, but enough time was stalled for the villains to reveal their true plan. A massive explosion strikes the Rangers, and we see a blue, green, and black Ranger. Blue Ranger, Twin Danger. These are the Spirit Rangers. The crystal eyes trap the Masters in a trance, being chained up and forced to fight. Every move they make, the Spirit Rangers act accordingly. What's cool is that the Spirit Rangers are American-made creations. Yeah, they're Jungle Fury exclusive, but we'll dive into that in a little bit. Naturally, the Rangers are no match for all three Masters' power, getting beaten pretty badly. Meanwhile, Theo's twin brother Lewin comes to town. He's a laid-back, cool guy who plays the guitar, with each brother thinking that the other is wasting their time doing what they do. Eventually though, it's revealed that both brothers are kinda jealous of each other. So they make up and... yeah, great. Aren't there Spirit Rangers to be dealing with? And the episode ends with Master Finn contacting RJ spiritually, telling him to take the risk, and RJ being confused on what exactly that means. One last second chance. RJ ponders his father's words, coming up with a plan to readjust the claw cannon so it instead utilizes the power of the bat, shark, and elephant spirits. This should be enough to destroy the Spirit Rangers, but it also runs the risk of destroying the Masters as well. With no other plan though, it's the best they got. During another fight with the Spirit Rangers, they bust out the claw cannon. They're hesitant on using it, but eventually do so, destroying the Shark Spirit Ranger, and trapping Master Finn inside one of the Beast Eyes. Camille telling the Rangers that they just destroyed their master. RJ is the most devastated at this, the fact that he thinks he destroyed his own father. Flit overhears all this, and when they plan on tossing the Beast Eye into the ocean so it'll never be seen again, Flit intercepts it, bringing it back to RJ and telling him his father still has a chance at life. In order to awaken the Phantom Beast in the first place, it requires the power of the Starlight, a rare shooting star occurrence that just so happened to be passing by when the villains awoke them. So in order to save his father, RJ needs some of the Starlight. He recalls a recent conversation with his dad and heads back to his home, only to realize that Master Finn stored some of that Starlight just in case. So RJ uses that to free his father. We get a really cool moment where RJ and his father team up to invade the villain's lair, beating up every Rinshi in their path. They rescue Master Swoop and Master Fant, having a little duel with Daishi before managing to escape. They meet up with the rest of the Rangers doing battle, where together we see that the Masters now still have full control over their Spirit Ranger forms, now having our full team of Rangers, totaling up to 8.
Power Rangers Jungle Fury!
They take it to the evil forces in a massive fight with the monsters, Rinshi, and even Camille. This fight is so good. We get to see the Masters at their fullest strengths, fighting on their own accord with their special moves with their students. It's so awesome. Also, this fight is the perfect example of the theme song really being the secret ingredient. Check this out and tell me the theme song doesn't bring this fight together. It's perfection, baby! Where together, the Rangers destroy the monster and send the bad guys fleeing. Camille wants to master the Phantom Beast power for herself, and the three Masters saying they've officially joined the team, and will help out the Rangers whenever they need it.
Jungle Fury!
Alright, so we finally get a break here. It's been really story heavy the past few episodes, lots of arcs and things actually happening. It's nice. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the Spirit Rangers are American exclusive creations. And honestly, you'd never know unless someone told you, because I sure as hell never knew. They look official and really clean, especially with the suits being primarily their main color and white, reminiscent of the main team's Jungle Master modes. And it works because they're Masters. Their default should be the Jungle Master mode. So why were they created exactly? Similar to Lightspeed Rescue, where the Titanium Ranger was specifically created to fill that 6th Ranger spot that usually ends up being the most popular and beloved with kids, the answer is that it was made to sell more toys. Jackie Marchant, a writer and producer for the series, pitched the idea that the Masters should become Rangers, as opposed to getting the team motorcycles. I guess the gang were originally supposed to get Elephant, Bat, and Shark cycles? Yeah, thank goodness that didn't happen. You could even buy the Spirit Ranger Zords and create a toy-exclusive Megazord. Yeah, this thing only shows up in toy form right here. It's kinda ugly and lazy looking, but kids don't care. You get to create a Megazord, it's perfect. The toys even came with a little comic book that goes into the Spirit Ranger's backstory. This is so much, I have no idea why Jungle Fury specifically went crazy with the toys. It's always nice seeing homegrown Ranger creations, taking the source material and expanding it in our own cheesy Power Rangers way. So yeah, hopefully you learned something then. The reason I dove into this topic a little bit is mainly because there's no crossover episode this season. Yeah, around this mark is usually when that happens, but not here. Granted, I don't know what a Jungle Fury Operation Overdrive crossover would even be about. Heck, honestly, it wouldn't even be good if I think about it. I guess if they wanted to go all out with toys this season, why not do a Jungle Fury Wild Force crossover? Yeah, it's only been 6 years since that season. It's not too much of a gap. Bring back the old toys, make more Zords, and release more Animal Zords to combine with the Jungle Fury team. Why not? So yeah, let's move on, I guess. Don't blow that dough. I don't think you can say that. It's a clip show episode. The Rangers get kidnapped and need to participate in a game show where the host asks them questions about the season thus far. Awesome! Tigers fall, lions rise. So Casey's apparently teaching martial arts at a local dojo. 2 part-time jobs? What a trooper. Anyway, Daishi realizes that one of the Phantom Beasts, Weiger, possesses the spirit of the tiger, telling him that he needs to destroy Casey to prove he's the dominant tiger spirit. He gets the jump on Casey and the two fight, managing to steal Casey's animal spirit. Meanwhile, Casey sees a young boy getting bullied at the dojo, seeing obvious parallels between him and Jared back in episode 1. Casey tries to motivate the boy, telling him that just like the Red Ranger, he senses the spirit of the tiger within him. With Weiger possessing 2 tiger spirits now, the Phantom Beasts combine their energy to power up Daishi, giving him a new form. Demanding they also give that power to Camille and make her a general. She asks for a new spirit as well, the spirit of the Phoenix. With this new power, they decide to test it out on the Rangers. And as you can imagine, they get whooped pretty badly. Casey is feeling down because without his animal spirit, he can't morph. But RJ reminds him that it's not the animal spirit that gives him power, it's him that powers up his animal spirit. During another attack, Casey shows up, remembering RJ's words and managing to morph through pure determination and willpower. However, when they summon the claw cannon, Casey doesn't have enough tiger spirit. That little boy from the karate class shows up to help, saying he has the spirit of the tiger. And it works, hitting Weiger and the bad guys retreat. The episode ends with that kid getting some respect amongst his peer and bullies, but Casey still doesn't have his tiger spirit. The spirit of kindness. Daishi banishes Weiger for his failures, as well as stealing his powerful energy, with the other Phantom Beasts angered with this decision. Casey, meanwhile, is still feeling down that he lost his animal spirit, but just then he gets a message from Weiger, telling Casey to meet up for a fight. Weiger's doing this as redemption. If he beats Casey, then maybe Daishi will let him come back. The two then fight for the spirit. Casey gets the upper hand and throws Weiger off a cliff, but without hesitation, grabs his arm to save him. Weiger's confused, saying it's a dishonor for his enemy to rescue him. But Casey says that's just how the Rangers are, simply taught to help people, even the bad ones. Before Casey gets called away to help the others, the Rangers are currently fighting some strong monsters summoned by the Phantom Beasts. They get captured and shrunk down, being prisoners in a box. Casey shows up to where the fight was, but he's too late. That's when Weiger shows up to explain everything, that his friends have been taken to Daishi's lair, and he will take Casey to them. Naturally, Casey is skeptical, but Weiger says he doesn't have many other options. He takes Casey to Daishi's lair and to where his friends are being held. They get jumped by the monster, and Weiger proves his loyalty, teaming up with Casey to fight him, as well as returning his tiger spirit to him. They fend off their foe, but that last attack drained Weiger of his energy, telling Casey that Daishi has proven to be his enemy, while Casey has proven to be his friend, before being destroyed and fading away. Casey frees the other Rangers, and together they finish the job, destroying the monster, while the Phantom Beasts are unhappy with Camille, saying she's unfit to be a general, especially after Daishi exiled a Phantom Beast, and are planning some revenge. Merrill and the monkeys. This girl gets jumped by Camille and the Rinshi. She's carrying some kind of secret information. The Rangers show up to save her, with Dominic quickly falling in love. They need to find out why Camille was after her, so Dominic naturally volunteers to talk to her himself. And Fran is a little jealous. He manages to sweet talk his way into a date where she'll explain what's going on. Dominic folded pretty quickly and morphed in front of her to prove he's not just some random stranger. It's going pretty well until he blows it, opening his big mouth and saying how she's really into him. He finds her and apologizes, learning that what Camille managed to steal was a cloning experiment. So Camille clones the monster and the Rangers gotta fight, learning that to destroy the clones, they gotta destroy the original. This was all Camille's plan, so the Phantom Beasts sabotage it. Their plan works, and the Rangers destroy the monster. Back at Jungle Karma Pizza, Dominic is feeling depressed about blowing it with the girl, but Fran shows up to keep him company, and the two share a nice lunch. Back at Daishi's lair, he's furious at the Phantom Beasts for sabotaging the plan. But the Phantom Beasts don't back down, saying that if he's given Camille this power and attention because she's truly worthy as a general, or because his human side has feelings for her. Daishi tries to attack the beasts, but he's unable to do so, falling to the floor. To earn your stripes, RJ is taking Casey, Theo, and Lily on a little road trip. Before we dive into that, we see Daishi stressed out after not being able to summon his power. Camille naturally goes to comfort him, saying that the Phantom Beast can't be trusted, and that she's the only one who has undying loyalty to him. Daishi agrees. Camille holds his hand to continue calming him down, where Daishi then says, "Thank you," catching Camille off guard since he's never said that. Daishi then runs off to be alone, where we see Jared taking over, saying he wants his life back and never wanted to hurt anyone. But Daishi says it's too late. Jared says he can fight back because he has the spirit of the lion. Daishi laughs, saying that Jared has the strength of the lion, but not the spirit. He doesn't have an ounce of nobility or goodness in him. Back with the Rangers, RJ's taken them to the Paishwa Academy to take their final test to officially become masters. The three need to fight their teachers one-on-one. Everyone's doing great, apart from Casey, who's not feeling very confident, looking over at what Theo and Lily are doing and mimicking them. The test comes to an end. Theo and Lily get their master stripes, but Casey doesn't, naturally leaving Casey a bit upset, going for a run to clear his head. During this, he runs into Camille in the forest. The Phantom Beast sent out some monsters to destroy her. They attack, but Daishi shows up and saves Camille. Camille is surprised to see that Daishi saved her, but it's revealed that this is actually Jared, wanting to save Camille since he has feelings for her. Meanwhile, Casey gets jumped by a Phantom Beast monster. He gets into a fight and calls the others for help, which includes the Spirit Rangers. It's once again tons of fun, loaded with non-stop action, where together, the Rangers combine their powers to destroy the monster. Casey tells Theo and Lily that he saw Jared save Camille, and that he might be able to be saved himself. But the two are adamant that Jared is long gone, and there isn't any goodness left in him. There's only Daishi. Casey starts to feel insecure, thinking that they're not believing him because he's not a master like them. Casey goes to RJ to ask why he failed, but RJ says he's already taught the Rangers everything he knows, and it's up to them to use that knowledge to figure things out for themselves. The episode ends with Daishi taking over Jared's body once again. Path of the Righteous, the penultimate episode. Casey talks to Dominic, asking about Jared at the academy since he knew him. Dominic says that he had a troubled childhood, but he believed that he wasn't a bad person. And before the conversation can continue, Casey's long gone. He's planning on walking straight into Daishi's lair alone, so he can save Jared. He's stopped by the ghost of Master Mao, saying that Jared is a lost cause. Even he couldn't put him on the path of good, adding that if Casey never showed up to the academy, then none of this would have ever happened. But Casey stands firm in his resolve. Everyone is telling him to not waste his time with Jared, but Casey doesn't listen. He plans on doing this, even if it means getting destroyed in the process, with Master Mao asking Casey this.
Are you trying to save Jared or redeem yourself?
Casey walks into the palace and swats away the Rinshi like they're nothing more than mosquitoes. He tells Daishi he's here to save Jared, but Daishi doesn't listen. The two get into a fight. The gang get word about Casey, but RJ stops them from helping, saying he needs to do this alone.
Whose idea was this again? Alright, mine.
The fight is intense, going through walls and destroying the palace with their immense powers. All the while, Casey is telling Jared that he still believes in him and that he can fight Daishi's influence. Casey has the chance to strike down Daishi and finish him off, but he instead says that he cares about Jared and won't do that, turning his back to Jared and saying,
If you are Daishi, then destroy me.
Jared goes to strike, but stops himself, fighting off Daishi's influence and repelling his spirit from his body, with Casey, Jared, and Camille escaping together. It's not long until the Phantom Beasts catch up. Luckily, the rest of the Rangers now are here. Casey morphs, as well as Jared and Camille take on their animal forms, even joining in the roll call.
With the spirit of the mighty lion!
Together, they all take on the Phantom Beasts. Seeing Casey and Jared working together shows that Casey was right to follow his own instincts. They defeat the beasts, but they grow big. The Rangers summon their Zords, with Jared and Camille also joining in, giving them the Lion and Chameleon Zords. And with it, they destroy a Phantom Beast, leaving only one remaining. The gang celebrate, Casey even getting his Master Stripes, RJ saying that a true Master leads and trusts his own instincts, which Casey didn't do at the exam, but is clearly done here. Jared apologizes and says he'll take any punishment Casey sees fit. Naturally, he's forgiven, instead asking Jared for his help to fight Daishi. Jared though feels guilty for what he's done, not wanting to join in the fight, fearing he'll only cause more damage. Bringing us to the final episode of Power Rangers Jungle Fury. Now the final fury. Camille tries to comfort Jared, saying that she's personally witnessed Jared's kindness when he was a part of Daishi, saying he is a good person. Meanwhile, Daishi doesn't waste any time. He opens up a portal from the spirit world and unleashes all the powerful generals the Rangers have defeated onto Earth, starting the Great Beast War. The Masters join the Rangers in this fight. The entire episode is a massive battle between good and evil, taking out hordes of Rinshi and fighting the powerful beasts while being outnumbered, with even Master Mao, Rilla, Lope, and Gwyn showing up, since Daishi opened the portal from the Spirit Realm, joining in the fight. The Spirit Realm Masters and Spirit Rangers take on their furry forms and destroy the beasts. Now all that's left to deal with is Daishi. Flit informs Jared and Camille about this, Camille choosing to fight by the Rangers' side, saying how Lily told her way back when that she was a good person, and is going to prove her right. Daishi has taken a new powerful form, a giant 8-headed dragon after absorbing the spirits of all the generals. The Rangers summon the Megazord, but it's no match, being quickly shut down and destroyed. Even with the help of the Masters, they're no match for Daishi, but that's when Jared finally shows up, confronting Daishi, saying how he told him that he didn't have the spirit of the lion, just the strength. So now he's gonna prove that he has the spirit. He takes on his lion spirit form and enters Daishi's body to fight and weaken him. But Master Mao says that only the 3 chosen warriors can truly defeat him. So Casey, Lily, and Theo focus. Harnessing all their animal spirit energy together, they create a giant energy ball and blast it at Daishi, destroying him in the process. Jared's body falls from the sky. Camille goes to check on him and asks if he's okay.
I'm better than okay. I'm good.
We wrap up things nicely. Jared and Camille have re-enrolled into the Paishwa Academy as beginners, befriending the Rangers and starting their new path of good. Flit returned to his human form and got a job at Jungle Karma Pizza with his best friend RJ. Dominic is going to continue traveling the world and asks Fran to join him, which she's obviously into. And lastly, Theo finally asks out Lily on a date. And she agrees, asking him what took so long. And with that, Power Rangers Jungle Fury comes to an end. Jungle Fury was such a huge step up from Operation Overdrive in literally every way. But not only that, it's probably my favorite of the Disney era seasons so far. For me personally, I've always loved martial arts movies, so a season primarily focusing on a theme like that with training montages, mastering weapons and styles, spirits, it's all so great to see. It meshes with Power Rangers perfectly. This season easily had some of the best morphed and unmorphed fights in franchise history. Casey's rise from being a scared and timid beginner to leader of the Power Rangers and becoming one of the strongest and wisest warriors ever is such a great story to follow. We see him constantly struggling with his confidence as the leader. His will to want to save Jared when literally everyone was telling him not to, as well as risking his life for his own resolve, is Power Rangers in its most purest form. Theo was always a strong and confident character, but his weakness was always his ego. In the beginning of the series, you could easily peg him as unlikable, but as he learned humility, he quickly became actually likable. Sure, still confident, but like Master Swoop said, Theo didn't have to change who he was at his core, just alter a few things. Lily was kind, strong, and caring throughout. It's what truly made her the heart of the team. Despite her own challenges she faced, she always prioritized helping others. Her only conflict was accidentally helping Camille, but Lily's judge of character ultimately proved right, since Camille did turn out to be good deep down. RJ is a perfect Power Rangers mentor, probably the best in franchise history up to this point. He balanced the goofiness and serious teachings really well. For a group like this, he knew when to be serious and when to lighten up. He was also proof that no one is perfect. Despite being a Paisua master, he had plenty of his own problems to figure out himself. Dominic was there. Yeah, he sadly had the least to do. He found his purpose in the first episode he debuted in, so all he was really doing was fighting and making jokes. His romance with Fran was nice, I guess. Good to see she got a happy ending. Daishi and Camille were fantastic villains. The abusive relationship she had with Daishi was honestly heartbreaking at times. I wish we had a bit more of Jared's humanity peeking out though. For the most part, it was just Daishi until the last few episodes. But it was still tons of fun. I also love how when Camille gets the Phantom Beast's power, she personally requests the spirit of the Phoenix. The Phoenix obviously being a symbol of rebirth, because from that moment on, you could see she was caring more for the humanity side of Daishi, aka Jared, over any kind of world domination. I seem to say this with every passing season, but Jungle Fury really did have some of the strongest and most consistent storytelling in Power Rangers history. I definitely recommend this season to anyone. It might be in my top 5. But sadly, our time with Power Rangers is about to come to an end, because our next journey takes us to the final season of Power Rangers. Yep, the final season of the Disney era. How would they do? Would they go out with a bang? Well, I guess we'll have to see when we get in gear with Power Rangers RPM.